All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Socially Unacceptable But Sober podcast. My name is Dino. I'm an alcoholic.
Hey, I'm Jonathan. I'm alcoholic.
Not alcoholic.
What's up, guys?
Hey, brother.
What up?
How you doing? Tonight, guys, we have a very special guest, our friend Jaime, who is not a recovered alcoholic. We're going to go a little different route tonight. She is a licensed clinical social worker.
Oh, we got it right.
Yeah. Practiced all day. Say hi to everybody.
Hi, guys.
Good to have you here. Good to have you here. Thank you for taking the time and doing this.
Yeah. We drove an hour to get here.
An hour. But she realizes how important this kind of stuff is, so we appreciate it. Guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Love us, comments, sobriety dates. If you need some help, let us know. We got guys. We actually got a guy and a half, maybe two, right here in this very room.
Fuck is that?
What's the hat?
What kind of bullshit is that?
Yeah.
Sorry.
The
Anyway,
short
so
He can't give a short joke.
I can't give a short.
What the fuck? That's what I'm trying to say.
Jonathan is going to tell us tonight how to like, subscribe, share, like, comment, all that stuff. Also, he's going to talk about our merch that we have going out there. As you can see, I have one of the one-time bros. Jonathan's actually wearing
It's a hat.
You can just say a hat.
It's a hat.
nice, beautiful.
John,
how do you do that?
So you guys can listen to us on whatever streaming platform that you listen to podcasts on. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, all that good stuff. We have video up on YouTube at Subs Podcast. We are on the Gram, Socially Unacceptable But Sober, Subs Podcast 1. We're on the TikTok, subs.podcast1. We are also, we have an email if you want to reach out, subspodcast1@gmail.com.
have we ever gotten one email?
Yeah.
Yeah, one, right?
One. Yeah. Well, I get others from like marketers that want to sell us shit and make fun of my thumbnails. And then we are also on thumbnails, not these.
Dude,
You are technically illiterate.
Oh, you're on the fucking seizure tonight, huh?
Yeah, give me the hammer and nails. I'm good.
Two
Talk
fucked
about
up
stuff.
sentences.
Yeah. I didn't say anything.
You're right. You're trying, though.
And then we have merchandise, like Dino was saying. We have merchandise, and that is subspodcast.myshopify.com. That's where you get the shit. So
Right.
connect with us.
Cool. Thank you very much. That's how to do it, guys.
Thanks, buddy.
Like,
You're welcome.
share, subscribe, follow,
Thank you.
love us, comments. If you need some help, we got guys. Comments.
Yep.
Oh, the head.
So this is from last week's show.
Have you ever commented, Jane?
I've never commented.
You never watched the thing.
I've watched it.
One time, maybe.
Oh, no. More than,
Come on.
I forced it.
like 4.
Cool.
Only because he's at work shoving it down his throat.
I can't watch this. Like, I'm trying to work the can.
Okay, so this is from the California Sober Show. This comes from Joey. In the time I have been sober, I've had 16 surgeries. Poor guy. Some major, some minor. The major ones involve pain medication, and those are the ones that I talked about at meetings well in advance of the surgery. There are people who say that we should not take pain medication after surgery. I am not one of those people. I believe that honesty with your doctor, your sponsor, your network, and your home group are essential. Nowhere does it say I have to be a martyr. So it is a touchy subject for a lot of people. That is just my experience, strength, and hope. God bless and be well, my friend.
Joey.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah.
This comes from Pat Russell. Hi, Pat.
What's up, my dudes?
I can't even believe, Pat, about what I'm about to read. I think Matt's point is well taken. Whoa. Pat, are you on the one?
Whoa.
What's going on?
Hey,
Might
what's
have
the
a couple
point?
Glasses that night.
Very often mental issues and depression, etc., run hand in hand with addiction. You guys are great.
That's right.
Thank you, Pat.
That's right. She's not just saying that because she's my mom.
Mary Banks, another great show. I have heard so much about this topic. It was good to hear your thoughts, and I think you should keep your Golden Girls theme song. You guys are awesome. Thanks, Mary.
Thanks, Mary, for being a friend.
and this is from Alyssa D. No one's gonna get you sober. No one's gonna keep you sober. Now that's a T-shirt idea. Great show as always, but this one hits different. All right, what the fuck is that for?
We're fucking amping it up.
I love it.
That didn't amp nothing up. Pew, 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 pew. Scott Rock. What's up, boys? It's Scott.
Scotty, the
Thanks.
body.
Thanks, Scott.
Scott, that was epic. I'll write it down so I don't forget it.
Love you guys like brothers because you are my brothers. Great job. What you guys do spreading the message of positivity. I like to make a big... I'm reading it just the way this kid fucking wrote it. I like to make a big shout out to the haters.
Scotty?
Yeah.
Scotty, you burnt out, motherfucker. Listen, by the way, Scotty just became a grandfather on Sunday.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Congratulations, Scotty. And invite them to stop by Wednesday night on these... we're not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Also known as the Wednesday night fights.
That's right.
Bitches.
Scotty! Yeah, he had a grandson Saturday. Everett Scott is the kid's name. Everett Scott.
He didn't text me the
Beautiful
name,
baby.
but he texted me when he was born.
Congratulations to the whole family.
This comes from Ann M. I don't know what that is. The old timers used to tell us when we were facing surgeries, just remember, you can awaken the beast. And I agree with Matt's statement about sobriety.
People are agreeing with you way too fucking much.
Sick people,
Yeah.
sick people out there. I often say there is not a chemical on the face of this earth that equals the high you get when you realize that your program is working in all aspects of your life. And we got a sober date of 5/24/94.
Oh, another May baby.
Thank you, Ann. Congratulations on that date. And this one, fucking Scott, he had an afterthought of
Yeah,
inviting them to the Wednesday night. He says, we will have open arms for you.
Yeah. Open arms.
This guy's ready to fight in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And then we got our boy, reliable Southwest Chuck.
Chuck!
I have opinions on Cali recovery, but they would be long, drawn-out comments. What I will say is that everybody needs to live their own truth. We are as sick as our secrets, and we are only as strong as our weakest links. For today, this drunken junkie is free from all substances. Sending love from Southwest Florida. Namaste, motherfuckers. You gonna stop that?
He warned me about that earlier.
That he was going to keep doing it?
No, he didn't say he was going to keep. He's just going to download some new ones.
That one sucked. And the Eagle. Eagle sounds like he's getting.
That's it?
That was it.
Guys, thank you so much for those comments. They were awesome. We really appreciate you guys. Again, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment, love us, all that stuff. Congratulations on sobriety date. Scott, congratulations on your new baby, grandbaby, and to the whole entire family. Tonight, like I said, we're going to do it a little bit different. We have a professional. Jaime. Jaime, before we get into it,
Yes.
the topic that we had last week, what are your thoughts on that? On medication after surgery or the marijuana maintenance type of stuff? What are your thoughts on it?
What, can I?
You can.
How about we have her give the description of the job and what she does?
Go for it.
So I am an assistant clinical director at a transitional living facility. So we treat dual diagnosis people. I've been in the field for
Say what that is for the people.
it is people that have both mental health and substance abuse. I've been in the field for close to 20 years at this point, a long time. I started in mental health and then it sort of went from there. So my day consists of a lot of individual counseling and I run some groups as well. So
It's
And then-
mental illness, isn't it?
it is mental illness and
Does it
substance.
make
This
you
room is-
mentally
this
ill?
room
At
is full of
times,
mental
for
illness.
sure. Absolutely, it does.
I can't imagine dealing with
You know who
people
he
like
was
us,
right there? He was the guy
and then
from Brown.
worse.
John
day in and
Malkovich.
day out. I just don't. I can't.
You never
I
saw
can't even
Malkovich?
deal with. You know what I mean?
You gotta watch
It's
it.
it's amazing.
You like
Um,
poker?
but so you've been doing it for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
Awesome. What made you get into?
Poker.
I actually just kind of like fell into it. So when I went to college, I graduated and I was on my way to law school. And
Really?
yeah, yep. And
Oh, did you fuck
I
up?
I graduated in December and law school wasn't starting until September. So I came home and I worked in the mall because naturally that's what you do with a $200,000 education. Work in the mall.
Yeah.
It made my parents really happy.
Yeah.
And throughout that time, I sort of had this epiphany that I didn't want to go to law school. I didn't want to work a career where I wouldn't have a life outside of my job.
Mm.
So I didn't go, and I was still working in the mall, trying to figure out what the hell I was going to
What
do.
were you doing in the mall?
I was the assistant manager at Journeys, so
Oh,
selling
yes.
sneakers to
Shoes,
kids
baby.
and socks,
Nice.
obviously.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was like, oh, fuck it, I'll just go to graduate school and get an MSW, so a master's in social work. The kid who worked in the store next to me was also working part-time at a residential facility.
Mm.
And he was like, oh, I could get you a job. And I was like, sure, let's try it. And I went in the fields and I loved it. And I just like never left at that point. And then I like worked my way up from direct care to a clinician to the role that I have now.
Cool. And you are Jonathan's boss.
I am Jonathan's boss.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
He
wanted to
has to
throw that out
report to me.
Just have to
Yeah,
put
That's
that.
cool.
that's right.
Well, thank you very much for your service because you do
Absolutely.
your service all day,
Yes.
all the time.
Yeah.
Which is crazy when you think about it, because we do service to keep ourselves sober, right? And there's people like Jaime out here that just do service.
But there's something in here.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know what I mean. It
Yeah.
wasn't for the money because a lawyer. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's to help. It's to help.
Absolutely.
You want to help.
Yeah. And the other thing that I wanted to note is like the way that I operate, like you said, all day, my clients know if they need something, and my job's not 9 to 5. If people need
Mhm.
something, I tell them all the time, call me. If I can answer, I will. If not, I'll get back to you. But it's 24/7.
You know, I have an aunt that got into this field a little bit, but then went in a different direction in the medical field. But she gets attached, very attached. I can't even imagine all those years of bad news. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That takes a special kind of person. And, we thank you for that. Back to the original question. What do you think about that California sober stuff, the medication after surgery, how to handle stuff like that? Because I know you've had to touch on that in 20 years.
To me, I don't think it works, right? The California sober thing, I don't think it works successfully. I think I've seen a lot of people who are like, oh, I'm not doing heavy drugs, I could smoke pot. More often than not, you see people then start abusing marijuana.
Of course.
And nobody wants to acknowledge that because they're sober. So I don't think it works. I, highly advise against that idea of California sober. It doesn't work.
And going by my own experience, like I said last week, I've prescribed myself medical marijuana every single time I got sober.
Yeah.
It was just my own prescription.
Written by Dr.
And it didn't work. And you were right. It's always like, I'm just going to do just enough to take the anxiety off, take the edge off, to help me sleep, to help
take
with
the
this,
edge
to help with that. But it was literally the next day of that idea would be from the moment I wake up to the moment I pass out from smoking weed all day long. You know what I mean? And it's not my true love. You know what I mean? So it always progressed into other things, like you said.
Yeah.
And I wasn't growing in any spiritual direction. You know what I mean? I wasn't working on myself in any single way because I felt great.
Yeah.
Like, what's the need of going any further when I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing? I'm not smoking crack. I'm not doing heroin. I'm not doing all these things. And I'm living a pretty good life. And I'm happy all the time. Well, because I'm stoned all the time, but I'm happy all the time.
Lack of consequence allows me to believe everything's okay.
Right.
Well, and that's, I think that's an interesting point too, is that, that it is, like we said last week, it's a big accomplishment to like stop smoking crack.
Where'd the clock go?
It's
I got it.
over there. to stop smoking crack and stop shooting dope and doing all those, and even alcohol. You know, we see people with alcohol that you know, obviously is the number one contributor. But to say like, you know, when I know people that say like, you know what, I'm just going to smoke weed now. I never had a problem with it. I propose the question, you know, I never had a problem with crystal meth. Why don't I try that? You know, I know it's not the
Makes
same,
sense to me.
not the same category, but with that rationale, like, all right, well, I never did it, so I'll just do that instead.
Because you went, the weed is like baby food.
Yeah.
So it's easier for me to justify the baby food. You want to go right to the fucking end of the road with the crystal,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's easier for me to
Right, yeah. Because
buy
it's
my
legal,
lie.
yeah.
Oh, it's legal. Forget about that. It didn't matter if it was legal or not. It's the lesser of all the evils,
Mm-hmm.
alcohol included. So it makes it way easier for me to say, "Man, I'm just going to smoke this weed. I'm good."
Yeah.
You know, and I don't need to have a second thought after that until what you said. Story of my life. These fucking microphones suck.
Hey, Deb,
So-
we're open to any donations.
Yeah.
You got to get out
They
the
can't stay up.
duct tape.
Yeah.
So, okay, so
They got whiskey.
I agree with you. I 100% agree with you, and I know everybody else will agree with you. Now, the medication after surgery, like, did you able to see last week's podcast about what our thoughts were on it? You heard the comment of the guy that's 16. It's true. This dude Joe. Every time you see him, he's got a
Oh,
split
he's got something. Yeah.
He's tore himself up. But he's one of the guys that, like, literally will tell you 3-4 months in advance, I'm having surgery on this day. Like, he
Well,
just
him and
sets
Rich.
up this plan. And Rich, yeah, absolutely, man. And they've taught me a lot by doing that. I haven't had to do any major surgeries or had to take any kind of prescription pills since I've been sober. But just by their example alone shows me that I better not take this lightly, because I said this on the podcast last week that my brain doesn't really understand what prescribed medication is, and you know, a perk 30. Perk 30 is a perk 30 to me, and my brain's gonna be like, it's fucking party time. You know what I mean? That's how my brain works. So by listening to these guys, how they've handled it, how other people hold it, and all that stuff, I've learned so much from them. But have you had any negative experience in your field?
Absolutely. I think, you know, to answer that question, you have to know yourself and you have to know where you're at in your own recovery. Because I've seen people do exactly like you're talking about, like a few months out, start working their program, putting it out there, you know, acknowledging like, hey, I have an issue with this. Can you hold these meds? Talking to their doctors about it. And then I've also had people that are like, oh no, they made me take this. I had to take it.
Yeah.
Right. And they've taken the bottle in 2 days.
Oh.
And then we're, you know, back to where
I need a
we started.
refill.
Right.
I
right.
spilled
I'm
them
still
down
in
the sink
pain,
by
right? It's
accident.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's the recognition of where one person is in their recovery with it.
And that's
Wait.
Oh.
What do you mean by that, though? What is it when they're going to say where they're at in their recovery? What is that?
I think that as a clinician, when you work with people, you meet people that are serious about recovery, and then you meet people that are maybe not as serious and motivated to do the right things.
A little bit more nonchalant.
Yeah, you see people, like those are the people that I would say you see cutting corners,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
So when I get a client that I see cutting corners and they're like, oh, I have to have this surgery and I need these pain meds. I'm like, do you? Do you though? Right? And my big question to a lot of my clients is always, at what cost? Sure, you can do this, right? Like, I'm not the clinician. I'm never going to tell a client what to do.
Right.
It's just not who I am.
Right.
But I ask the question all the time, at what cost? Sure, you can do that. Do you think it's a good idea? Right? Very often when you pose that question to people in a therapeutic sense, they sit on it for a minute and then they're like, probably not.
Well, anytime they use the word probably, the answer is definitely not.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, one of the things, Jamie and I have a funny backstory here. So I started working under Jamie
He's still working under Jamie.
That's right.
It's still working under Jamie.
Still going.
Like, whatever it was, almost 3 years ago. And it was like 2 weeks went by.
Oh, is this
Yeah.
the one you told me about?
Yeah.
The realization?
What do you say?
Yeah, the realization.
Oh, yeah. No.
Yeah. So she asked me, she's like, is your mom's name Patty? And I was like, what the fuck is this? She's like, I'm Jamie Del Grosso. Not to mention, she's the assistant clinical director, names on board, all that stuff. I never put it together. That my mother met her father and became friends because she was a bartender and
Patty
My
was a
dad was in
bartender.
the bar.
Patty was a bartender and her dad would frequent bar after work, and they became friendly to the point where they call each other on each other's birthdays, like to this
Years.
day. And I was like, so I went, of course, I was like, oh yeah, Del Grosso, I definitely know that name.
Oh,
And we started talking about it.
Right.
And so we have a little bit of history here and go back a little bit. And then the thing that I learned is working with Jamie is
Poor Jamie.
Poor Jamie. Right.
working for Jamie is, we have recovering alcoholics have this knack for, we see somebody coming into the rooms or see somebody that's saying like, hey, I'm good, and we're like, bro, you're not good. You're not good. I didn't think it could transition. I know like mothers have that instinct, but Jamie's got this experience to her where she can see right off the rip the bullshit that we're bringing to the table, where there are clinicians like, and that's again being, like you said, true to our own recovery. Like I would lie and manipulate what I thought, my therapists, my counselors, and all that stuff to an extent. But I think the point you just brought up is that you'll never tell somebody what to do, but you'll pose that question. And the truth is, for me, you could never tell me what to do.
Right.
Ask Patty. There was you told me what to do. I did the exact opposite, just out of spite.
Yeah.
But when you pose that question, you make it my own thought, my own decision. And then I start to think about it. Yeah, is this a good idea? Should I be doing this? And I think that goes to speak about support in recovery. Like having the right person that will call you on your shit, will ask questions that you don't want to hear, and that will propose a new way of living to you, or a new solution, or an alternative solution of how to go about what you're struggling with.
Can't do it alone.
Dude, we don't come to see therapists. We don't come into these rooms because life is fucking great. But then I want to come in here and I want to say, like, Jamie, you don't fucking know what you're talking about.
You don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
Stop telling
I have
me.
a really funny story about that. So I've been in and out of rehab since I was 17 years old. And if I found out that the counselor or the clinic, whoever it was, didn't have a problem,
We talked about this
I'm like,
before.
what are you going to do for me? You have no idea. You have no idea. And the last rehab or the last transition house I was in before I went to rehab, same thing. I found out she went to college for it and she never had a problem. And nobody in her family even had any problem. And I'm like, screw this bitch, man. I'm not going to listen to her. And, I was really ready to start doing whatever it takes this time. You know what I mean? And I went upstairs that night and I'm like, why do I talk shit about this girl? Like, why am I hating on her so bad when she's exactly the type of person I'm trying to become? Right? She's a normal, sober person
Functioning.
living a great life, and I'm hating on her and not trying to take any advice from somebody who already has their shit together. They're not going to get their shit together. You already got your shit together. So the very next day, I was like, I'm going to start listening to her. I'm going to start listening to her. And I'll never forgot her, man. And she stays with me all the time. I've never seen her again.
Yeah. The ozone's strong.
I might stroking out.
He said, I'll never forgot her.
Yeah.
I've never forgot her.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's the taking the help thing. Does it matter where it comes from? Does taking the help matter where it comes from? Where's the help coming from? Doesn't matter. Help is help. You know what I mean? And when I walk into a rehab, I'm there to get help.
Yeah,
right.
You're there for one
It's so
reason.
crazy how our mind switches on the third day after we got a couple of full bellies.
Yeah.
And a good night's
And a
sleep
shower.
everything. Yeah.
And
Shower, yeah.
the forgetter kicks in. And
Yeah.
was it really that bad out there? I don't think it was.
And I'm sure you get a lot of that.
What about, do you find that sometimes, like, you know, you pose the question, you hear the people out, but sometimes you got to win them over a little bit. You got to prove that you know what the fuck you're talking about, you know. And like when you first started and Jonathan responded, the first thing I thought about was the same thing as a sponsor-sponsee relationship. I have guys that they want me to give them the answer because I was lazy. I don't want to have to figure it out. I don't want your fucking riddle, right? I'm not here to do that. Just give me the answer so we can check that off and move on to the next thing. And the you know, I run a group inside a program, and when I talk to these guys, I say, listen, I don't care if you don't agree with what I'm saying. What I do hope, though, is tonight when you're in your rack and the lights are off, your fucking brain is going 200 miles an hour because I'm making you think. Because that's all I'm here for, man. I'm just here as an example of what this program has done for me, and to let you know that it's available to everybody. There's no magic involved here, you know, but I think it's very difficult for you guys in that position because everybody's lazy, man. And I know that sounds kind of fun, like it's not a judgment call, man. It's just the way we are.
Yeah.
Sure, it's that instant gratification, right? Like I don't want to do the work. I
Yeah,
just tell me what to do.
Let you do it for me, right?
Yeah, tell me what the answer is.
What have you found going with this question has worked for you? How do you get through to that?
I think and as you were speaking, I was
us.
thinking, I was thinking about this. One of the nice things about where we work is we have the freedom to be real people.
Oh.
And I think what really doesn't work is when you get someone trying to get clean, sitting down in front of like what I would call like a suit.
Yeah.
And someone that you're like, wow, you have no life experience. You have no idea what I'm going through. Whereas like where we are, right? Like he's fully tatted, I'm fully tatted. Like I don't give a fuck, right? I'm going to be completely real with my clients. And I think the ability to show them that, all right, I'm not in recovery, but I'm still a real person.
Yeah.
My life isn't sunshine and puppies, right? Like I'm married to someone in recovery. Like I live parts of this. And that ability to, like I said, be real, build rapport with people. Once you build rapport with someone, you're in.
Yeah, you gotta
You're in.
just be able to show your face.
Absolutely.
And you know, the whole tattoo thing and all that, yeah, that is helpful. But like we had an episode where it's to piggyback off of what you were saying about hating on the young girl. I remember my first counselor ever, she was addicted to fucking diet pills. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here? You got nothing to tell me. Because I climbed out of the gutter to get here. So it's easy to be on this side of the coin and be very judgmental. It doesn't matter what you look like. I don't give a fuck how talented you are. And when I'm wanting to be the little child alcoholic that I am and not wanting to give one fuck that you're actually here to help me get better, I think all that's thrown out the window. But when you could just be yourself, you could be wearing a fucking cardboard box with your fucking eye holes in it. And that's going to be because the things that you say are going to have feeling for me. Right. That's the thing. It's the words that can emit emotion, I think, is much more powerful than the look. Because if I seen this guy, you know, what am I going to do? What can I do with this guy?
Take the fight out of it.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, you don't want to be here? Don't be here.
Exactly.
Like, there's the door.
There's the door.
Like, I'm not going to fight you to be here on this. You don't want to get clean? Go. I've got, 5 other people that want to come in here.
A lot more than
this.
5.
Yeah.
A lot more than 5. I tell guys all the time that I work with, listen, you give 100%, I'll give you 110% back. We're doing this right with you. Like, I'm not just having you do stuff and I'm just sitting back going, yeah, you do what I say. We're doing this stuff together. But if you're not putting in the effort, bro, what am I going to put effort? It's not my recovery.
Yeah.
And that's, you're like, there's the door.
I tell them, I'm not going to fight you to stay sober. That's not my job.
Right.
I'm not going to fight you to do this.
And the more you fight them anyway,
the worse it gets.
That's okay. The more you fight them, the more they fight you.
that's it.
And it, you also said this, you're more in the recovery program than not, because if you put it together 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, it's not like somebody that just shows up for an hour. It's just a couple words at a meeting or listens or whatever. You know, like you get involved with these people's lives, and like you said, it's not just 9 to 5. You know, they got issues, and I know you see people on the weekends and
You're in, huh?
Yeah, I'm all in.
they're all Sundays. I'm like, really?
Yeah,
Sunday?
all day Sunday. I have a private practice on top of working my 9 to 5.
Because we get paid so great.
Yeah, we get paid so great, so I got it.
You know, that's another thing, though. Like, I always preach it every Saturday. Well, Saturday night that I'm in there. I say, you think these counselors are here because they're getting fucking paid?
I love when people say that to me. You're only doing this for the money.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm doing this for the money, I should be driving a nicer car
Like,
than I'm
you
driving.
probably came in here with more money.
Yeah. I try to, you know, but you know, it's those little things, and I've always said this, no matter what. I used to have a counselor 100 years ago, and one of his little slogans was "To be aware is to be alive." And I used to talk shit about that because that's what I did. You know, anything that was witty or beyond my capability to understand, I'm going to talk shit about it.
Gypsy.
And but then, you know, ironically enough, fast forward 20 years later in my sobriety, someone asked me one time the question, what if you had to sum up sobriety in one word, what is it? I said awareness. The more aware I am, the more sober I can become. And, you know, it was very ironic that moment 20 years previously came full circle and is now very real in my life. And I think that a lot of the meetings that I've had with the different therapists, counselors, yada, 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 over the years, every one of you gave me pearls. I just wasn't ready, man.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing. And so it's to say, anyone that I find is getting new into the business, you guys, I say, man, get some thick skin because you can't own a lot of people, man. They're not going to want to stay sober. And that's not your fault.
No.
But you know that. But sometimes you'll make relationships with people and you'll think, man, I think this guy really got it. And then the next day he fucking goes out.
We go and support that. We go and disappoint you.
Yeah, 100%.
It is. And there's like, as you're talking about this, there's 3 clients in my career that I think back on
Yeah.
that it still guts me.
Yeah.
Do you do shoulda, coulda, woulda with them?
No,
No, really,
because
right?
I think throughout experience in this field, I realize like, this is not me. I'm
Right.
not that powerful.
Right.
Right? Like I'm not, it's the person's choice. But yeah, these 3 clients just, when I think about it, I'm like, I wonder if these people are alive. Like it just guts me completely. And I couldn't even tell you what it was about these 3 clients that just really hit me. But yeah, sucks.
Yeah, it does suck. It sucks for all of us.
And yeah,
Just seeing anybody.
We see it all the time.
Oh man, it's just as much. Yeah, unbelievable the feeling. Like I was thinking of Dano
Yeah.
the other day. I just popped in my head a friend of ours who shot himself. He just couldn't do it. You know what I mean? He took his gun, shot himself. And I was thinking about him the other day, and I'm like, damn, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, damn, man. It
That
just
was
saddens my heart, man.
That was the week.
That
I
was right when
away.
you came here, though. You met him.
Yeah, so I met Dano. He had just come back into the rooms, and I met him. It was the time that I was avoiding the Waterbury area because, you know, I only need drugs out of Waterbury, not recovered. And I met him in Naugatuck, and we became close. We had each other's numbers. We talked, and I remember I hadn't seen him for a little bit. We went on our honeymoon, and I think it was...
No, you were already coming to the men's meeting when you went on your honeymoon.
Yeah. I had started already, and then
Oh.
I'd started coming to men's meeting, but I went on my honeymoon, and I got home, and I can't remember the first person I talked to when I got back, but they asked me if I'd heard about it, and I was just like, I remember sitting up in the kitchen, I was just like floored. I had to put everything down. I was like, Jesus Christ. And that's the thing, man. Like, moving to Waterbury, there's more people that I'm around. The meetings are bigger. And
You know why, right?
because there's more people.
We don't need horses.
We don't need horses here. Like the Catskills.
I can't believe you fell for that. Holy fuck.
Oh,
We
God.
bust his ass saying, "You're from the Catskills,
Yeah,
right?"
middle of nowhere.
Yeah, we know he's not from the
He
Catskills.
was starting to tell stories about, trying to get high.
North Salem.
Yeah. I'm from Westchester.
There was horses there too.
Don't say it.
West.
Anyway, he was telling a story one time. I said, "Oh, would you have to fucking steal a horse to get over to the next town?"
I would have got more money at the pawn shop for it. But I've lost so many. I've witnessed so many people lost to this disease just since moving here, man. More than I can count, and it's like in the blink of an eye.
Well, it's inner city too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just in the blink of an eye, and they're gone. And you got a relationship with these guys, and that's why you like kind of hold on to the ones that like are actually doing it. And you're applauding.
It does suck, but at the end of the day, like you sit there and go, dude, that's the game, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
that's
end
what we're in.
of that game is always death. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the end of the game.
Everybody's a power of example.
Yeah.
Whether it's a good one or a bad one, it's a power of example.
So you're married to a recovery
I am.
alcoholic drug addict.
How long's he been in the program?
13 years.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Did you meet him before or after?
I met him after.
Uh,
But he was like freshly sober when we met.
So he
And
was
I
a
was
wreck.
a little trepidatious
Oh,
about it, right?
Yeah.
Because having.
Real quick.
well, you were already familiar with that
I was
world.
familiar with the fields, right? And then I met this guy, and he's like 3 months clean. He's like right out of
3
jail. Yeah,
months?
it was like
Oh,
very
you were
early.
cold, girl.
No, no. But he
As a
loves to
sheep.
tell people because of our I feel like I met her at work.
Yeah.
No, you didn't. Stop telling people that. So I was a little trepidatious about it, and I was like, I don't want your recovery based on me. I
Yeah, I want to fucking say something, but I can't.
trepidatious.
Out of respect. Don't be using fucking big words around me.
Hesitant.
Okay, that's
Okay,
good.
hesitant. I was hesitant to get involved.
Well, yeah. Know what you know.
But eventually he wore me down.
So he had 3 months. He had
Yeah.
3 months over.
3 months sober.
Persistence.
Yeah, he wore me down.
Good for him.
Yeah. Good for him. Yeah. And we actually met because at the time I'd work because again, my field paid so much
Oh, wow, yeah.
that on Saturday nights I would bartend. So all week I was telling people, stay clean, stay
Yeah.
clean, stay clean. And then on Saturday nights
do you-
I
what do you
had
have?
to-
What do you have?
I was like,
Making
you
a
know,
double.
And I met him at the bar, and he would come in and he would drink water.
Oh, he was that guy.
He was that guy.
Yeah.
He would come in, he would drink water, all of these things. And then as I started to get to know him, I'd watch him start to freak out at the bar. And I'd be like, you need to leave. What are you doing here? But when I found
How
out,
long before he found out you were in the field?
right away, because when I met him, we got to talking and he told me he was clean. I was like, you just made a huge mistake. I said, I will never serve you, and I will never let anyone that I'm working with serve you. If I'm not here, you do you. But if I'm here, I will not serve you.
Yeah.
Was this in White Plains?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, does he do what we do? Does he go to like meetings?
He doesn't.
He doesn't.
He doesn't.
Did he ever? Or
He
just,
tried. He
Not his
just, it wasn't his thing.
What's his thing?
His thing is
Children.
children and life. And, you know, maybe about a year or so after we met, we left White Plains. He left all
Everything
of that
behind.
stuff behind. And if people see him now, they're like, holy shit, man, I thought you were dead.
yeah.
Because we just left.
I just got that from someone I tattooed a couple weeks ago. They're from up north. And she was like, so-and-so knows you. I said, yeah. I don't. She's like, yeah, I was telling me you tattooed him. She's like, oh, shit, he's still alive? I thought he was dead.
And I won't disclose his name, but he's a good dude. He's awesome. He's a very quiet, reserved, tall motherfucker. You know.
But when he talks, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
You know, but he's got to like get comfortable. And then he says some really fucked up things, which are really funny.
We're fucked up people.
Yeah, yeah. So
I
I
went to their-
appreciate that.
I went to their house for, was it Christmas or Halloween? They had the decoration on the fucking tree. It was like balls. Just,
Probably.
oh, he had, no, it was Halloween. He had balls hanging from his neck, and there was like,
Severed balls.
yeah, severed balls.
Sounds like my
Shit.
kind of guy.
But another thing that, you know, I hear clients talking about, what Jamie does, once a month, she brings people to a correctional facility.
Yeah, we go to a Class A maximum security
Nice.
facility. Yeah.
Get them the old, hey, this is what you're
Yeah.
It's a women's or men's?
It's men's. Class A max, the worst in New York State. And we go in and it's basically run by the inmates, so like the top 1%, and it's what they call a steered straight program. And these guys tell the clients their stories, right? And how they can all relate to winding up, in a place
Yeah.
of desperation.
Yeah.
And I think people have this preconceived notion that, well, yes, most people in prison are probably not great, but people make mistakes.
Why'd you fucking look at me?
Because
People make mistakes.
They do. They do.
Right?
They do.
I want to
And
know.
this-
Substances.
No.
And this
I want to know what the fuck you meant by that.
because you were in prison.
you were in prison.
I don't know why.
Why you want to break my anonymity?
But this lifestyle,
We know nothing.
this lifestyle leads you to that,
Yeah.
right? And
I
because
did it all.
I talk to kids, I do a thing once a year where I go to this town, Woket, and I talk to a bunch of 7th, 8th, and freshman, sophomore around that age, and it's like I was just like you, man. You know what I mean? These weren't here before.
Yeah.
My inmate number was never. I never had it. You know what I mean? I lived in Woket. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? This is where you end up. And I think that's. I always wanted to get into this field too, but mostly I wanted to work with.
Then he learned what you get paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I found out what you get paid. I'm like, I'm good. No. I just don't think I'm pretty raw.
I would agree.
I don't ever guess.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
You
raw.
hide it so well.
I don't sugarcoat shit.
You're short. Must have flew over your head.
And I always wanted to work with guys like 18, 17, 16, right around the time, you know what I mean? Hitting puberty and stuff like that. But I decided against it and just kept hammering nails. But yeah, that is the message, man. To the that's the message, man. It doesn't matter where you come from. I had a great family, an amazing family. I was brought up great, never wanted for anything, and I still turned out this way. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter where you came from. It doesn't matter. None of that matters, man. This thing does not discriminate against anybody, your color, your religion. It doesn't matter. If I have it, I have it. If I have it, I have it. And I need help. Man. I need help. So, go ahead, John.
Are we at that time?
We are at that time, but I was going to start it. But go ahead. Man. I feel you got something else.
I don't know if you can answer this question,
Feel it?
but without specifics, do you have any success stories that you could, working with clients that have really gone on to great things that you can disclose a little bit about, or, without, I don't know how much we can talk about it.
These are a lot
I
of
mean,
words.
we could talk about it, right?
Can't use names.
Yeah, you just can't use the names of them. I've had a lot of success stories, right? Without success stories, there's no way I'd keep doing this.
Yeah.
I'd be like, this is the most depressing fucking job in the world.
Yeah.
Forget it. But yeah, I mean, I've had people that I worked with that were just out of detox coming and were able to get it and go on to, finish school, get master's degrees, get jobs in the field, do all kinds of things, start families, get married, and it's always awesome when you get like a Christmas card from like a past client and they're like,
They're
just
doing
thinking of you,
Yeah.
like, here's what's happening in my life, and they're doing it and they're happy and they're successful. Like,
Yeah.
That's
Because we're not
awesome.
selling,
And
we're not
you-
sending Christmas cards when we're smoking craft.
You made an impact in their life.
yeah. Yeah, and I think like this has been like I haven't seen you in like 6 years, and you're still thinking about me.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
You
That
can't
keeps
put a
going.
price
Yeah,
on
that's
that
what
shit.
keeps you
Hell
going.
yeah, man.
You can't put
Hell
a price on it.
I work with a couple guys that are staying sober. You know what I mean? And now I watch them helping other guys. So, and in the beginning of me like working with others, sponsoring other guys, and like nobody was staying sober, and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing wrong, man? What am I doing? And I was getting depressed over it.
Yeah.
Like I was like, what the fuck? I really needed somebody to stick around, and now I have those guys, and they're just a joy to watch help other people. You know what I mean? And they always turn around and go, dude, thank you so much for. And I'm like, dude, you have no idea how much
Yeah.
you helped me, man. You know what I mean? I really needed that. So I really thought I sucked at it.
I also think it comes in waves in
Yeah.
the field, right?
Yeah.
So you'll like work with a group of people, and you'll feel like, holy shit, what? I am a miracle worker. Like, this is not helpful at all. And then you get
Marvel
people,
Jesus.
right? That it just like comes in waves.
Yeah.
We'll do well, then you won't. It's great.
I remember calling a sponsor years back, same situation. no one's staying sober. I'm like, I have to be the worst sponsor ever. And he said to me, real simple. He said, you staying sober? I said, yeah. He said, and you're the most successful sponsor.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like we talked about earlier, it's not any one of our ability to keep or, prevent or any of that stuff. It's, I had a different sponsor say, my only requirement is to be a guide. I'm just here to guide you through, man.
Yeah.
Show you what I've done and give you some of my experience, strength, and hope, and just help you walk through your path. That's it, But I think that some people, and I'm sure you've seen it in your field, they get that God complex. They start power tripping, like, oh my God, look at what I'm doing, and that's in itself is a whole nother thing. But it's great to hear, when people are in the field and they're fucking, whether you're alcoholic or drug addicted or not, we're still like minded. And that's the thing, is like, the commonality is that we're helping people, you're helping people, we're on different sides of the fence, but our goal is the same. And that's the thing, So I think that we can always learn from you, and you in turn can learn from us. So that's the beauty of it. I'm done.
Awesome. All right, guys, we're going to move on because we are running out of time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comments, sobriety dates, all that stuff. We're going to move on to our next segment, which is our one-time bro.
Why don't you read your shirt before you say that again? This one time.
It's behind me. I can't
Motherfucker.
read my,
I think you got it right there. I think you got it right.
Tonight is going to be Jamie's, and then
Oh, yeah, you know what that, you know what you got to do.
She's hip to it. She's hip to it, and I'm sure 20 years in this. Oh my God, she probably got more than we do, man. Anyway, Jamie, what do you got for your one time, bro?
Gosh. So I was talking to Jonathan about this before. So this was probably before I became a clinician and I was working direct care. And you definitely saw, I think, more crazy shit working direct care because you're sort of like in the trenches with people. And I had this client at the time who was just getting clean and I couldn't find him. Right. And we were in a house and I couldn't find this guy. So I'm looking all over for him. And then all of a sudden I hear these like ghost moans coming from one of, like that. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I open the door. I'm like, hey, are you in there? Knocking. Doesn't answer. Still ghost noise. I open the door. The dude is in there, butt naked, except for a sheet over him. Literally flying around like a ghost.
Wow.
All right, dude. Like, let me know when you're done. It's just.
If it was Matt, it would have had a little hole here for the stem.
Yes.
You don't know about that story.
I was thinking about. He had a story where he had a bag over his head and he cut out 2 holes and a spot for the stem to hide because nobody's going to see him with this
Yeah,
bag.
of course.
Yeah.
Great.
It's like my invisible cloak.
Yeah.
That is something you're never going to forget, huh?
Never.
Never.
That was like year 1 in this field.
Was he on drugs?
No.
Just
Coming off the drugs and just
feeling it.
Sometimes that's
going
worse.
through it.
Yeah.
It's like a house that touches every wall in the house.
Oh, dude. Yeah, man. Detox is no joke. It will screw with your mind. You know.
Yeah.
That's funny, man. I'm picturing a guy. I don't know why.
And he was
Yeah.
I feel like I know what this guy
This was
looks
not
like.
like a tiny human. I was like, what the fuck? It's like, I love this job.
I'm home.
I'm home. Naked ghosts. I love it. That's funny. All right, one time, bro, for me, right?
Yeah, I checked the schedule.
Good.
Did you happen to notice the spelling of the schedule?
I
there?
did.
It's essential.
Super intelligent.
That's probably-
Say it.
Say it.
Schedule.
Schedule.
Yes.
Schedule. All right, so one time, I think I was like 19. I was 19 years old. I get a knock on my bedroom window. My buddy goes, hey, bring some scissors, some tape,
All right.
this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, okay.
Or MacGyver.
I'm going to teach you how to rob a house. And I'm like, fantastic. I've been waiting. You know what I mean? So we go, and this dude shows me how to cut glass with scissors and the tape and all that stuff. And I'm like, amazing. So we take this guy's guns, right? A lot of guns. And we had all the plans set out except for where are we bringing these guns?
Yeah.
What are we going to do with them? When we
I was always good at getting this shit.
yeah, I'll get the shit out of it.
Yeah.
But where I'm going to do it after that is beyond me. So I'm like, we can put him in my room because my house is a couple of blocks. We'll just carry him all. We had to keep walking back to get it. It was a lot. So we put him under my bed. I'm
No one will
him
ever
under my
think to
bed.
look under there.
Right? Well, who's gonna look
Solid
up?
spot.
Who's gonna look? So the next morning, I'm talking about it to everybody.
Yeah.
I'm a 19-year-old awesome criminal. You know what I mean? So I'm telling everybody, like, yeah, we got these guns, bro. And so I'm showing my buddy, and I pull out one of the guns, and I point it at my window, and I go to click it.
Boom.
Boom! It was a 10 gauge. It wasn't even a 12 gauge. It was a 10 gauge, right? And I wasn't aiming it, but it hit my neighbor's gutter. And it blew it to smithereens, like the edge of the gutter was just shredded. So I'm like, oh shit, holy shit, holy shit. So I throw the gun under the bed. We go back into the living room. We're playing Mortal Kombat on Nintendo, right?
Yeah, because the cops ain't coming.
Yeah, they're not coming. 15 minutes. What? Yeah, that's what it felt like. Well, 15 minutes, 20 minutes later,
I had that happen.
and I answer the door, and I'm like, hey, how you doing? They were like, yeah, we had reports of gunshots coming from this house. I'm like,
Fucking Mortal Kombat.
I'm like, not here. I was like, not in this house. He was like, well, you mind if we come in and take a look? And they're already in.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't say, no, you can't. You have a warrant because I wasn't smart enough then. So they're in my house, and they're, like, looking around. They're asking me, ID and all this stuff. And I'm shitting my pants, man. And my buddy's in the other room just shitting. They got him on the couch getting his ID and all that stuff. And they're, like, literally, I felt about to leave. But one cop was, like, smelling the gunpowder.
Oh, God.
And he followed it, and he went right to my. As soon as I saw him walk into my room, I'm like, "Oh fuck!" I was like, "Maybe he won't look under my bed."
Yeah, because it's a good hiding spot.
It's the best hiding spot ever.
It's a good hiding spot, dude.
So I hear, "Oh, look at what we have here!" I'm like, "Fuck!" So they bring me into the room. He starts taking the guns. He's throwing it out on the bed. The fucking 5, 6. I was like,
Look.
"Oh my god!" I was like, "I am going to prison for the rest of my life." He was like, "Where'd you get him?" I'm like, "Oh, a friend of mine just tapped on my window the other night, and he just started handing me guns. He said that he needed to store them, and blah, 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 blah." And he was like, "Oh, well, that's crazy because we just had a report that the other night that there was guns stolen from a house a couple of blocks out of the way, and these are the exact same guns."
Must be the same
And
guy.
I'm like, he stole them?
Yes.
Boom, blah, 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 downtown. I never call my fucking... my dad, I'm like, hey, you gotta get me out.
You don't even believe what they're blaming me
Yeah.
for.
Dad, you're never gonna believe this shit.
I don't
So-
know how many calls I did.
Dude,
that.
it was not a small bond. I don't really remember how big the bond, but it wasn't small. And it wasn't my first offense. So
Well, back then, $250,000 was a lot.
I think it was like 30.
Yeah.
I think it was like 30. It was a lot. My parents had to empty out some accounts, ask for help, and then forget about it, dude. Keeping me out of prison was second mortgaging in the house, taking out loans, lawyers, and all that stuff. Oh my God.
How
man.
old are you?
19.
Oh, God.
19.
You got a young.
The gunpowder. The guy smelled the gunpowder.
Second
So-
bid.
So all this time is going by, and they're keeping me out, man. Like, we're going back and forth, and we're going back and forth. And they finally, back then, 3 years suspended with 3 years probation. You believe that? Can you imagine the amount of money my parents had to put towards that? Not to mention it was the 30 grand in the very beginning. Just
Yeah,
to
when they get that back.
Yeah, to get that back. But just imagine the amount of money back then. This was what, 1990, to keep me out of prison for stealing the guns. And then I told my parents years later that I stole it.
I did it.
I did that shit. And I rocked with that dude for years, man. I learned so much from him. I was like, dude, I didn't know you can cut. He's like, yeah. And I'm like, and then I'm like doing it going, shit, move out the way, dude. Yeah, so that's my one time, bro, where I
Oh, my
stole a lot of
gosh.
guns, got caught for it. Anyway,
Kids.
kids these days, you know?
Fucking kids.
Anyway, that was my one time, bro. Again, thank you so much for coming.
You're
Thank you so much for
welcome.
taking the time.
Thank you.
It was awesome getting your perspective on some things. I love the fact that your job, where you guys work, let you do what you do,
Yeah,
the way you do it. Because there's a lot of places that go
yeah.
step by step.
You can't divulge anything about yourself. Very cookie cutter.
Yeah, and I like that about that your place does that. That's awesome. Thank you again for taking the time out. Your one time, bro, it's funny. I still picture some guy. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I
we
feel
don't
like I
even
know
I'll
what he
never
looks
Yeah,
like.
forget
some
that.
guy we don't even know.
Yeah.
Again, guys, don't forget to
John's gonna
subscribe,
probably do it later.
Probably.
like,
It was
share.
Jonathan, actually. It was his
Comments.
office.
Sobriety dates. If you need help, we got guys. We have them right here in this room. I think that's episode 25.
I don't even know.
Oh yeah, remember? Because the next one was going to be 25.
No,
Anyway,
I don't remember that. We should write that on the fucking board.
again, Jamie, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you for being a friend.